All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final day and the final matches of Season 6 here at the ESL Pro League. Myself and Lawners, we're going to be jumping into Cloud9 versus the Misfits. We'll be keeping tabs on the other 6 games that are going to be going on here this evening, and we'll be having Stunna, along with some of our analysts reporting in throughout the course of the matches to update you guys on exactly what is going on and who is in and who is out of the playoffs in Odense. For Cloud9 here, they must 2-0 both of these matches and count on either NRG or CLG losing 0-2 in order for them to qualify. So the pressure's on, and they have to start it off with these victories or they're not even going to have a chance. Yeah, their motivations are going to be all over the place. It's going to be kind of a crazy set of matches where there's some just like, people are going to be in emotionally different places where they're not exactly playing for the same thing. Some of these teams are playing to knock each other out. Some of them are just playing to qualify for themselves. Cloud9 are going to be motivated, but at the same time know that their fate is not really up to them. They're just going to have to meet themselves 50% of the way by getting the 2-0 and then just hoping that, and if we look at the matches, right, we see that NRG is playing Immortals and that is likely going to be a 2-0 for NRG just because we saw Splice play Immortals and Splice absolutely dominated Immortals because of their 200 ping. Now, if we have CLG versus Splice, yeah, that's an opportunity where maybe Splice could go 2-0 versus CLG. Very unlikely, yeah, but still could happen, and that's probably the best chance for Cloud9 to be able to make land here. So it's very unlikely that Cloud9 make land in the first place. And Splice don't exactly have the most amount of reasons to try extremely hard in these matches either. They're not going to make land. They're not getting relegated. So yeah, you know, I wouldn't. That's a tough place to be if you're Cloud9. Yeah, I think Splice is pretty much already guaranteed to be in playoff relegation if I remember their position correctly, or they might have like escaped right above that one position, but they're basically in a pretty neutral spot right now. There isn't much that they can gain by winning or losing this match, so it's a pretty neutral match for them. And if the encouragement isn't there, then CLG could just wash right over them and get a quick 2-0 as well, which would kill Cloud9's chances right from the get-go. But we're gonna have to wait and see, as Cloud9 also needs to win both of these maps. So it's gonna start off here on Cash, and then we go to Train afterwards, and they're gonna be playing it against the Misfits, who actually just managed to toss away a game versus Liquid, which they seem to have pretty handily from when we started tuning in anyway, checking that one out. And it was on the same very map, but managed to go to overtime, and they lost it. So needless to say, they're not going to be super confident going right back into this map to play it against Cloud9. Two great maps, though, for both these teams. They both love Cash. The fact that Misfits lost Cash is kind of crazy because they lost so many CT rounds in a row when they, I think it was 15-6 at some point, so it's kind of startling that they ended up losing that. And it was like a 1v3 at 15-11 where Twist won the round when they had him dead to rights. It was over. All they had to do was rush him pretty much, and they tried to play it even more carefully and still ended up losing. So, they're going to be kind of salty about that, but they've got to move on and move forward and play Cash one more time. All right, let's start it off here. Misfits will be jumping onto the T side, and they'll pretty much just rush over here towards the B site. Equal trades to begin it, but Cloud9 still have a good setup, and they pretty much rotated everyone over here. The only inner site player that was still alive, though, is now dead on the ground. Automatic will pick up one additional kill, makes it 2 as well, as now he tries to push out from Checker. Stewie into the door, finds one, and then whips around to take out Sean and claim a pistol victory for Cloud9 to start off the first map. What a ridiculous round from Stewie, that 180. And Sean must have missed so many shots, though. I mean, he was standing right there above him. I would like to see how that happened, actually. I don't know if we get to watch Sean Garrett's POV. That 180 was kind of nuts, though. And what a way to kick off the map. Here we go. And yeah, oh man, he was just taking damage. Maybe the peak only came out at that moment. But yeah, another salt-inducing round that Misfits have to stomach. And yes, they're also going to start off from behind here, economically speaking. So they forced buy into it in the second round. They did not get the plant there in the pistols, so not much of a merit in full saving and waiting for a third round buy. They will just buy into it completely here and hope for the best as spread their players out across the map, but pretty quickly group them up again, as it looks like they're going to go for a slow walk down the B halls to try and find a way to execute. Could see some mid-pressure going out too in order to get vents control. In fact, I believe we already have that with 6 sneaking through, getting into those vents. They're leaving this pretty wide open, and this is common to play 2 on sites, but the rotate's not exactly close, and they have got to get moving. The smoke comes out, but behind them, so they're gonna sit and hang out for a bit. As they move in, Tarek is gonna be able to pick up the first kill, and Stewie finds the second, so Misfits getting pretty quickly melted down here. And now they've lost the bomb. It's sitting down out on the site too, so they are not going to be able to fall back and try to rotate over towards A. They are locked into this site, and will just have to do their best to try and do as much damage as possible. Amanek finding one, but moments later, Skadoodle catches the trade onto Sick. Amanek chains together a second kill, so a little bit of damage here, but obviously it wasn't not meant to last, so Stewie's eventually going to take him down, and that secures the 2-0 start.
And unlike the match where Misfits just went to OT, it's going to be a match where this has to close out in regulation, which is another out for Misfits. So they pretty much just have to get to the 15-round mark, I think, to be in a better place or a safer place.
Apparently our Outlook settings are out of date.
Got to check your emails and stay on top of that.
I'll have to someone look into that ASAP. Cloud9 shooting ahead here right at the start. And we already have a pause, but it is of technical nature. Reminder that most of these teams are playing from the iBuy Power LAN right now, so
it's their fault, if anything.
No, I wasn't going to say. I was just saying that there might be pauses because due to like setup or any internet issues, since I imagine the internet there is probably getting tested a little bit with their stream still staying up, and then all these players trying to play on ESCA servers too. Might have a couple disconnects happen at any point here. It's an initial start here to the third round for Cloud9, although Shazam with that trade should let Misfits flood back inside. Skadoodle and Tarek do the best of managing this, and okay, Sick finds another pickup, which is going to let him plant now. We don't immediately see Rush go back into the site to kill Sick, so while they still immediately brought down low to 3 HP, he's got the bomb down, so he's guaranteed extra money going into that first gun run at least, which is, I think, far more than Misfits were hoping to accomplish this round, in addition to getting 3 kills there, almost a fourth. You can see how low Rush was, but Rush eventually does take him down, and that secures the 3-0 start for Cloud9, but it's going to be tested pretty quickly.
Yeah, at least the bomb plant will help them out with their buy in the fourth, and yeah, recovering the 2 guns. They don't actually convert to M4s, so I don't know if they'll hang on to the UMP. I probably would. It's actually a double op setup to kick off this rifle round. Skadoodle and Stewie both picking one up. I see that Stewie has a great spawn, could be used for many different locations here on Cache. Sometimes B, sometimes A. It looks like he's going to be taking his talents to B. A smoke comes out, passive setup otherwise, and he himself is getting pretty aggressive in B main. I wonder how far he's going to go with this. They've actually got 4 people here ready to explode on him upon contact.
Stewie holding in the back, but he's going to get overwhelmed very quickly by Devu, who swings forward. The rest of Misfits now sit in front of an open B bomb site. It's going to take them a moment to figure that back out, but as they move in, oh, Tarek actually with some nice spam. Sprays in through the smoke and is able to actually take out Sick there, so brings it back down to a 4v4, and something makes it a little bit more palatable in the retake for Cloud9. Still going to be tough with how quickly they got locked out of the site, but it is possible. It's going to take them a moment to really prop up and get themselves ready to move back in. You have the majority of their players look like they're going to head through the vents on retake. Whereas only one is going to proceed through heaven, and that'll be Skadoodle, so not too much of a surprise there. The vent players move in. It's clear at first, but they've got to be careful because Sean tries to push back in. Though he fails outright. Tarek is going to be able to take him down. Shazam still holds the sunroom, though, and this causes a pinch onto those Checkers players. Shazam and Devil will clean up shop with 3 kills, and Shazam gets his own personal 3rd kill to close out the first gun round in Misfits' favor.
In the back of your mind, you do feel like you lost a round once the site goes down because you know you have Stewie there all alone. He's got the op. You're expecting him to not only get a kill, but likely get 2, maybe stay alive. He was kind of aggressive, though, with no smoke and did run the risk of a play like this being the perfect counter to what he was set up for doing. So, with that in mind, Cloud9 now have to save, and Cloud9 had to take that on the chin as well. So a great start to the comeback, potentially, for Misfits. As they win the rifle round cleanly and play the after plant to perfection. And Shazam already off to a much better start than he was earlier today. Wasn't having a great game earlier.
And we can already see the defects of Cloud9's setup there. Once they lose that first gun round, because they took so many losses in the anti-ecos, they're almost immediately put onto an eco here. They do force buy into it, and that means they've got at least the ump and the op. But besides that, it's a very pitiful buy from them. They're going to have to try to make up for that with a little bit of aggression that we now see, specifically here on the A site. Tarek already pushing into Squeaky and clearing that back out. He's got to be careful adventuring more forward than this hallway, though, as Sick is waiting on the outskirts and almost already picks up the kill against Tarek. That'll send him barreling back into the site, play a more standard defensive setup as the rest of the team lines up probably to go for a little bit of mid-control here on Misfits' side.
Let's see what they do with it. Mid-control is big on Cache. Obviously, it allows you to split the sites, and it compromises a lot of spots that the CTs can stand on to defend against A pushes. But even without it, even if they don't use it, those spots are compromised. Now the A push comes out, a couple of kills come early, and that just leaves our man Skadoodle on the bomb wall dead.
Skadoodle will go down, and with him dead, there's only the players up on the highway approaching truck left alive here. One of them is Stewie, decides to split out at Z, and actually, Sean, for whatever reason, decides to not check that corner, so that's going to hand over an AK to Stewie. Probably immediately triggers a save off of that pickup there, but At the very least, if Stewie can get away with this, then it's going to be a nice little free upgrade for Cloud9, as they'll probably look to, again, pretty much just eco going into the next round. So this will be nice to have at least a couple extra guns.
It's still early in the half, Blue, so obviously they're going to want to try to hang on to as many guns as they possibly can. It's going to count towards something in the next few rounds, and with Misfits, knowing that, they would like to be able to find them. However, it is much more important for them to just keep as many people alive as possible at this point, because their economy is also priority #1. But again, a good round from the Misfits. They play the pretty standard move towards A slowly, anti-eco, and the first 2 kills come their way, so they speed it up. I imagine if they didn't get those 2 kills, they would just had mollied out spots. Still probably would have had a pretty easy time. We see a lot of teams have adapted to molly strats on A by placing all the CTs like against the sight box, and then just once the mollies are out, then they disperse and try to push. But Cloud9 were all in the usual spots. They probably would have just fall into the ecos fall into the mollies right away.
Yeah, it will be Misfits slowly setting up a default, however, to begin the 6th round. And Cloud9, again, as mentioned previously, really only have those pistols along with the 2 saved guns to play with here in the 6th. They'll gamble stack this time with 4 players committing over towards A, and only leaving Stewie with the AK solo defending B on his own. Without any sign of map control being taken from Misfits, though, they'll slowly crawl around the map here, looking for that option, and eventually deciding to take it, I believe, over towards the B halls a little bit here, but that could still very easily change up. There's no commitment towards either site just yet, as they continue to expand their options and try to find the best route.
Sean is usually good at not running into stacks, and this is a situation where it's relatively blind. They do seek out information, they risk a player getting killed, and they've got a lot of guns to use. And they have picked the right site in this circumstance, and it's just Stewie on B with a smoke.
Stewie's trying to stay as quiet as he can until he needs to pop out that flash. Out it goes. Not really going to blind anyone, however, but still able to get the first kill when he hasn't been able to see, however, is Sick hiding down below. But even Automatic rotated in time and was able to pick up 1 additional kill. For the moment, Cloud9 have the man advantage, but they don't have great positioning to continue defending this site. Stewie is the one player keeping them in this right now, and unfortunately for him, he's now dead. But Tarek and Skadoodle still doing a little bit of work, specifically Tarek with the op up in heaven, and all of a sudden, it's just Sick left alive. He has to hold on to this site, can't even really peek it anymore. It's too big of a risk that they might have actually pressed out. It's not the case, but still has to play it like this has happened. So we'll sit back, tries to spot Skadoodle, will get the shots at him, but when he peeks Tarek instantly knocks him out. And that's Cloud9 pulling off a very impressive retake with only 2 guns to their name to start off that round.
Yeah, that was an amazing round, obviously, because they delayed long enough that it made Misfits kind of second guess how they were approaching the site. I don't think they anticipated Stewie to play it the way he did, but he did a great job of delaying with that smoke. Everybody was rotating from the farthest possible point, and they still made it in time to be able to trade out. Ultimately, Misfits could have played it better by moving a little bit more quickly, identifying they saw one person on the site, but they have to be aware that they picked the site, that they're committed. So the worst thing they could do is, if it was a stack on the other side of the map, give that side of the map time to rotate in. So shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. You know what? I'm going to call that round John Mulligan. Okay. Cloud9 blew them out of the water.
Oh no. Well, moving on from that, we've got Misfits once again lining up for a default. And they've got all their players in A main already too, so move past that, ready to execute into A. And Cloud9 sit back. No aggression from them, so not going to have any early info to suggest that this might be the case. Without anyone like Stewie pushing into those B halls, they still have to assume it could be either site. But they have played heavily into A again, not obviously the full 4-man stack that we saw in the previous round. They've got Fort relatively close by, ready to defend it at a moment's notice. Though Automatic will be first up to bat here. He tries to push himself forward to the forklift position, but will get mollied back. So it's Tarek instead up on top, but they push directly into his presence. So he's ready to take that shot against Sean. Knocks him out. Automatic with a second kill here. Not even struggling at this point in time against the Misfits' attempt to go out and take site control. They will get it at least due to Shazam's one singular trade onto Automatic. But now it's a 3v4 post plant, but Tarek goes back to his position that he took before. Loses himself there. Skadoodle keeps it even a little bit here, but Rush will get countered on the flank. Hominick beats him out and puts us back down into a 2v2, as now the remaining CTs have to go back in and establish some presence. Skadoodle taking a bit of a big risk. He leaps right up on top of the bomb, has cleared it out. They should know one of the last 2 is sitting back at quad somewhere. They'll smoke it as well, so we can't directly peek it, but Sick still knocks out Stewie, gets the better of him, and it's on Skadoodle, who has basically 0 time left. Kills Sick through the smoke at least. Now he's going to leap onto the bomb. Hominick, you've got to find him. The bullets are enough to scare Skadoodle off the bomb, though, and forces him to run away. Bomb's blowing up, but Hominick gets the kill before explodes, and that will secure the round for the Misfits.
Skadoodle might have actually had that. He had the kit. He was 2 seconds in, and Sick was missing. Thought for sure that it wasn't that he wasn't any farther out than that angle. Now we don't know where that would have gone if he tapped some more and like tried to find him. And Skadoodle was obviously being prudent by trying to save that op and get out of there as soon as he possibly could without leaving anything to chance, knowing they were going to save. But still, it seemed like maybe they could have had that. So that's a key moment, maybe a turning point in this half. Cloud9 have to save one more time. And I think we've just seen rounds trade back and forth. Misfits, where that Cloud9 are low, have picked up 2 MAC-10s and will look to make some money this round.
Try their best to do it with this highway stack that they've got going on right now. But it looks like Misfits have proceeded down the B halls. However, they're pulling away from it, so might not be sticking around here for too long. They actually might end up going into that trap. That's been set at highway. So they'll have to be a little bit careful as to position themselves properly to avoid that. However, here comes the slow walkout at mid, and their attempt to take control here. But we've got Cloud9 with 3 players behind White Box looking to stop this. Sean goes 1 for 1 Sick. A little bit more restrained, but he's still taking quite a bit of damage here. Just getting slowly pelted down. They haven't returned all that much. The good news is, though, is they do have utility, and they're able to use that to scare away the remaining Cloud9 players and open up a path towards either site, depending on where Misfits did decide to go here.
The mollies are really good. Shied them off of mid control, and as we can see, it's influence rotation actually to stack a B because they're now blind. Now it is going to be Skadoodle, the last man standing at A with a USP in a corner. Maybe he gets a shot off, but probably won't have much impact.
He's hiding over here at Squeaky Corner, but yep, Devo instantly headshots him out of the round, and that secures it. Misfits, no way they're going to lose this as they secure that plant on A, and the last 2 members of Cloud9, since they don't really have anything significantly bought, more than likely just going to try to line up for some exit kills here if they can get into good positions for it. But Tarek's already been lost due to Almanac expecting him to come out of Z. And Stewie might suffer a same fate here in a second if he continues to peek. And there we go, but he gets the better of Almanac, so first kill for him, but he's got someone flanking him there. And Devo will be the one that finishes it off, tying us up now at 4-4.
It's good that once they got out mid that they resorted to their nades quickly before taking too many gunfights, getting chip damage off on them. And just with that single Molotov, and they threw 2, but they only needed the first one. They got the rotate to come out, the overstack towards the wrong site, and Misfits once again picked the correct site to go to on the anti-ego. And it's funny because they've traded rounds for one where they picked the stack site, still won, one where they picked the wrong site, or the better site, excuse me, and then lost. But now we're starting to look a little bit more stable.
Got Misfits quickly bursting out for mid control, but they don't check their corners here. Rush, he's allowed to escape with 2 pickups, and Rush still not dead. What is going on? Almanac, did he run out of ammo or something like that? As we're going to see a Rush be able to finally take him down. Sean is the only saving grace for Misfits right now, having cleared out the A site and leaving room to plant, because besides that, Cloud9 completely shut down Misfits' mid control attempt. It's all going to go quiet now, but Stewie strikes first again, able to take down Shazam, and Sean doesn't even stand a chance. Rush rolls right up through highway, instantly headshots out Sean, and that will allow for Cloud9 to now take back their lead at 5-4.
Did I already give out the mulligan of the match? Was can I just reapply?
You want to take it back and give it to someone else?
Did they do that at award shows ever?
No, I don't think so.
Damn, well, you've got to set the precedent, right? Here it is, Rush with a 2K, and then he saved just enough ammo to make this weird for Almanac, where I think he gets a little nervous about missing, and then it becomes a Wild West battle where they both reach for their pistols as soon as possible. Oh, man. And then Rush gets 4 kills. Gets the last player on A as well.
So an insane turn of events there from Cloud9 allowed them to steal away another round from Misfits. That's already the 2nd time that's happened in this half alone. So things are not going smoothly at the moment in the Misfits camp. Definitely still showing some issues that may or may not have been carried over from that Liquid game that was seen before. Rush hiding in the cub. He takes him home, but he gets that first kill, but he's lost his teammate on the site, so he's pretty much stuck here now. And I'm sure Misfits are going to be smart enough to play around this position so as not to give him any chances to frag. Just as I say that, though, I'll correct myself, as he was given plenty more chances to frag. Picks up the kill, and Shazam finally knocked out by Almanac, who pushes him directly with a MAC-10. And now Devo has got the hold on the smoke. Takes down Stewie as soon as he pushes out from it, and that gives Misfits back the man advantage to play off of here. But Skadoodle and Tarek are looking for a way back into the site. It's going to take them a moment, but they've still got 3 flashbangs to play off of here. Definitely initiate themselves back in, as everyone from Misfits is secured on the site right now. They don't have any presence outside of it, and that's going to cause some issues, as you've just seen right there. Tarek sneaking up very close, pre-firing in. They walk right into his spray there. Seen the shadow from the corner player, but that's going to distract him. Allows Romanek to get the kill, and now Skadoodle moves in with a picked up AK, picks up last 2 kills out of absolutely nowhere, and that secures the round for Cloud9. Nicely done from Skadoodle on a quick switch to the AK.
You're kidding. From the op to the rifle, the 1v2, very nicely done. And I was just going to highlight how that was the smoke criminal getting arrested. You know what I mean? I don't know what the play was that Stewie was making. And I think we're going to go to Trace to get an update on our matches.
All right, that's right. You're going to see Cloud9 in the lead, as well as Energy. Energy sitting at a comfortable lead right now. However, it is all contingent of that if Cloud9 will be advancing onto the LAN finals. They do have quite a bit of a load in front of them. Either way, let's jump back in the action.
All right, thank you very much, Stunna. So back to our match here, as that game is going pretty much as expected right there, with Mortals unfortunately still playing from Brazil, with like 170+ ping on most of their players. Not much of a chance for them to scrub out a win against Energy. Yeah,
that was literally both the same starting score lines for the Splice versus them in the previous match. So yeah, not a great place to be. And now it's back to the focus of things, because they're still CLG's match, which is probably again I think the maps we want to look at if we're going to talk about Cloud9's hopes at all, apart from this one right here in front of us, of course. Now it's what looks like feigning a mid take to bait out some utility early on. Minute 40 left. Everybody's walking. They haven't actually decided to take anything, but it looks like they might be setting up for some type of full A. As we can see the bomb postured in the back of A main, and no one's actually up over the boost just yet.
They've set up for this before and ended up calling it off, however, so I wouldn't call this a commitment to Misfits just yet. Very likely that it is, but...
No, it is, because you see where the bomb is. That's tell-all.
So they're going to be they will end up moving into the site now, and Rush gets outwitted right at the start there. Beaten out, back over at the forklift position. However, Automatic picks up the first trade. He'll go for more, too. Knocks out Shazam and continues to follow it through. He's low now at 19 HP, so might want to play a bit more passively. And Stewie, big surprise for him as Devo is holding right outside of forklift. Finally, we see a trade from the Misfits camp. But they've got a whole lot more work to do. It's still down to a 2v3, and they've got no control on this site. So they're going to use the molly, but that unfortunately is not going to accomplish a whole lot. We do see Omenek picking up a kill, however. I believe that was onto the player over at Truck. Now it's been evened out into a 2v2, but Devo has to quickly snap to try and find Automatic, but he can't do it quickly enough. Automatic picks up his 4th kill on the round. He'll try to go for the ace, but it's denied by Omenek. And now he's seen Skadoodle picking up from the site, and he'll be able to close out in another 1v2, but this time it's Misfits that win it, as they bring it back now 5-6.
Damn, looking like one of those magicians on Santa Monica Boardwalk. Like, watch this trick. Aims in between both players and is like, I don't care who peeks. I'm gonna hit this shot. This is nutty stuff. And then also completes it with a shoulder peek to bait the shot and catches Skadoodle, trying to end the round early. Nice stuff. Wow, I can't believe Misfits actually won that after the walkout seemed to fall flat on its face. The hold looked good, and now we've got a situation where Cloud9 don't have much money. The buy isn't amazing for Misfits, but we can see at least rifles here for everybody.
So just barely dodging some of those opening bullets, but he will get himself to the squeaky position. And the rest of Misfits, again, for the most part in A main here.
Are they going to do the exact same thing? I wonder if they don't use utility. I mean, they don't have a lot to work with. It's low buy versus low buy. But Cloud9 are very active at A at the moment. 3 people dedicated to watching every choke point. So I don't know if a walkout's going to catch anybody off guard. And actually, Misfits seem to have a change of heart here as they move towards the boost. Smoke comes out to Z. Late mid-control makes sense.
You've got Stewie defending it right now with the help of Skadoodle, but again, both of them are not very well armed at this point. Skadoodle's got a deagle, Stewie's got an ump. So they do not have the best guns to try and hold this angle off, but they're going to have great intel coming their way in a moment. They would have gotten it anyway with Skadoodle going down here, so Automatics push outside. Unfortunately, he's not going to gain all that much for C9, except for maybe an early flanked angle if he keeps pushing it. Tarek will have to sit back and defend, holding in the corner. Dodges the flash. Oh, but he gets destroyed by Devo from the off angle. It's going to save not only his teammates there, but lead to the elimination of Tarek, as for the most part, Misfits pretty much tear through Cloud9 on this round, leaving only Automatic alive.
That was a good round from Misfits on a few different fronts. At first, it seemed like, oh, should they be committing this hard to A? And obviously, we can see that there's a lot of CTs postured, waiting for that to happen. But it seemed like a strange idea simply because even though they're low, they know that Cloud9 are as well. And yeah, I like that they went back to boost. It went back to boost to clear out mid, got their first kill, long range, rifle versus pistol, kind of exactly what you want to find as Misfits, knowing that Cloud9 are on a force up. And then switching over to B, Cloud9 had a good rotate to B. They had the extra man go there kind of blind, and they called out that it was going to be some type of B play. And they're right about it, but Misfits, again, playing the man advantage, good spacing, and they kept the pace high. So they made it difficult for those rotates to matter too much.
And so now Misfits will continue to push forward and just go directly for the A hit this time. They won't delay it at all. They're not going to wait it out since Cloud9 are pretty much on a Felico. And, well, they're actually getting a couple kills, including one onto themselves. Rush will automatically or accidentally take down Skadoodle throughout the course of that round there. But besides the elimination of Sean and now Devo, this is shaping up to be a pretty straightforward round. So saying that, though, it's becoming much and much less the case. With another kill going by the way of Cloud9. That's now changed. Almanac's been able to take down Tarek. All of a sudden, it's only Automatic who is also going to fall trying to walk up highway, and that secures the lead for the Misfits. They go up 7-6, but not the cleanest round.
Not a very clean round, but as we near the end of the half, at least they know that Cloud9's money is on the brink, and theirs they have a little bit of bank for. So they've got full buy with some surplus, and with only 2 to go, it seems Cloud9, on top of having an eco, will guarantee that Misfits will be able to afford to buy for the rest of the half. So at least that, you know, this next round, even if they lose, although it might be kind of light. So pretty much an anti-eco default. All the usual suspects holding very familiar positions as the T's, just ensuring that nobody pushes all the way back at spawn, watching B. Whereas Cloud9 are getting set up, and Automatic playing very dedicated to A, allows his team to do a few things. One of those being rotate early without having to worry, because he's in kind of an uncommon position. People do check for this sometimes, but it's not that easy to clear, and usually if you're up there, you can get 1 kill and probably 2.
Well, now as Misfits finally come down to the point where they are going to have to start moving into either mid or one of the sites to take some control, they line up outside of A again, and Cloud9 have not necessarily left themselves with a whole lot to counter this hit should it roll into A. They've only got 1 smoke sitting on Rush, which thankfully for them is positioned on A. But besides this, well, an HE grenade is really all they carry to the table. Tarek strikes first, though. Holding the close corner, he's able to pick off Almanac trying to come out of mid, but it's not too difficult for them to be able to trade that. Devo will move in, catching him down just a moment later. But Devo took quite a bit of damage from that. He's now down at 13 HP as well. However, you just saw it there. Stewie is the real story here, currently wrapping all the way around against Misfits, and they have no idea about this. Misfits also not been able to really move in and take any map control just yet, but that's going to change now. And this is where the unfortunate factor of Stewie's flank comes in, is that he did end up leaving the B site wide open for the taking. He'll, as I said before, have the very early flank opened up from the B halls, but the site is going to go directly into the hands of the Misfits and let them get into this post plan very, very quickly. All's going to go quiet here for a few seconds as Cloud9 get themselves ready to move in for the retake, but on first peek, Shazam strikes against Stewie at Sunroom, takes him down. The rest of the team, for the most part, is going to have to come back into the site at a very straightforward angle, so it looks like they're deciding that it's not worth it, that they can't fight right now, that they're going to need these guns most importantly for the final round of the half. So they've called it off. They're going to sit back and at best sit over here and look for some exit kills, as this round is going to the Misfits, and they'll shoot up to 8.
It's been kind of a weird match. It seems like every time Misfits touch fence, they do end up going B. And it looks like, I think from Cloud9's perspective, well, why did they rotate so heavy out? And that's because Stewie had all that information gone through spawn. And I think that the reason, he probably was aware, you know, they could come out vents and go B, but he didn't think that they were going to go 5 through vents and thought, okay, well, I'll be able to catch someone coming through B main and then, you know, stop this split.
Oh, so going over to this other match now that we have going on, we can take a look at that, and we can see NRG have, well, taken pretty dominant control of their matchup versus the Immortals there. It's 14-0, and it does not look like Immortals are going to be able to come back from that. So, again, the expected result given Immortals' unfortunate circumstance. But we go back to our match as we get into the final round of the half.
Yeah, it's a rough place to be for Immortals. I don't think they were expecting much else. NRG also looked particularly good, which, I mean, it's not going to play into their favor whatsoever. But last round of the half, it's been kind of a strange one. Cloud9 have done some good stuff. Misfits have had a pretty good T side though. I thought a lot of great adjustments. They picked kind of a lot of the right sides, and if they didn't get ecoed a couple of these times or four spot to death, I think we would have seen kind of like an 11-4 type scoreline.
Yeah, just those unfortunate rounds that have unfortunately played out against them. As we look for Misfits to engage once more. They've already taken mid control. And we're going to see Misfits continue to push up towards the B site. And get ready once again to move into execute. Good timing on that nade, though. I'm not sure there was a sound cue that was made. Sean might have gone a little bit too quickly to be able to make that noise. But anyway, hits him. Knocks out about a third of his HP. And we see the rest of Misfits actually holding back now, delaying a bit more time. They don't really have a whole lot of it. Only 30 seconds remain here. And they're going to have to go back in and still clear out the site before they can even plant. Cloud9 should also start to get a little bit worried about where this execute's going to come from given the low amount of time here. They're going to have to very quickly rotate into this, and essentially Misfits going for a shock value play to get into the site without enough trades. Tarek picks up one, and so does Rush in mid. Besides that, it is a clean entry from Misfits, but still serves to bring it down to a 3v3, and Devo, oh my god. Just barely avoids the flame sprinting to him, and he's at 3 HP, so one single tick would have killed him. Oh my god! Another nade, just barely off the mark to knock him out, as now he's at 1. Devo has a lucky star watching over him right now. He will finally go down, and now, with the loss of his other teammate, it's all on Shazam here, but he picks up his second kill, knocking out Skadoodle, knows where Automatic is now, so can play with him a little bit and try to waste some time. He's got to be careful on that peak, though, as Automatic is ready to take the duel and will take him down, securing what should be a 7th for C9.
Yeah, he calls it out, gets the defuse, a couple of gamble peaks both ways from earlier in that round, and Cloud9 at least seal up the last, so it's as tight as a half as it could possibly be, except Misfits have more ways to win, so we'll find out right after this short break who's going to be the winner of this first match.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the City of Odense, GeForce GTX, Lenovo Legion, Bedway, Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain Dew League, Xfinity, and ESEA.
And we're back again, folks, here with more action from the final day of Season 6 EPL in North America. We have plenty of teams looking to qualify, looking to steal some slots at the last minute in the playoffs, and Cloud9 is one of those teams. Unfortunately, though, their task just got a lot harder, as we did see Energy come out on top of Immortals. Very much the expected result, like we were saying before. Immortals, unfortunately, under some very unfortunate circumstances, playing from Brazil, so it's pretty much impossible for them to play adequately, and as such, Energy were able to complete a 16-0 victory over the Immortals, as you're now seeing the replay end there.
Yeah, it's as expected, and I think that if we have the other match going on as well, CLG, I believe, are actually losing to Splice on Train, 5-8 or something, if that's not even updated. So, and I think that's a Splice on their T side. So pretty good start to that game at least. Unfortunate for Immortals, but that's kind of the result that we expected moving into that match, and I think that we won't see much difference. Hopefully, Immortals for dignity can at least get you know, at least get the one round so it doesn't look like a forfeit loss.
Yeah, that's true. But we're going to be jumping back into our match here now, Misfits versus Cloud9. This is the very important one for Cloud9 as they must 2-0 this series. They are behind right now, but only by 1 round. It's basically gone neck and neck after Cloud9's CT side, and they're going to have to hold it together on T side and try and close out here. Otherwise, a 1-map loss will pretty much guarantee them not being able to attend the finals.
Yeah, then we shut this whole thing down and go home. It's pretty much the end of the day.
Yes, indeed. So we'll see what Cloud9 have to shape up here. Pretty straightforward A execute coming out from them, and an even more straightforward CT setup from the Misfits. They have decided to play A retake, but it's very light on A. Usually you see at least one player on highway. Not the case this time. They're all going to be shaping up to defend the B site instead. And now, obviously, they'll immediately rotate over, and they'll just have to go for the straight-up 5v5 retake, which is going to be a little bit messy. So we'll try our best to keep up with the action. As Misfits start to roll back in from truck and highway. In they go. And let's see how the kills roll out. Right now, it's all Cloud9. Shazam, the only one that's picking up kills for his team. In fact, he ends up as the last man standing, but Rush will take him out, and it's Cloud9 that come out on top, tying us up now at 8-8.
It's really common. Everybody knows that, you know, you play retake on A on cash very often. Misfits are a team that practices their retakes, and they use these setup specifically so they can fortify B and still have a great chance to win at A. So Cloud9, knowing that, like, have a very difficult round ahead of them. That being said, it's kind of like a bank heist where for Misfits, they throw that smoke down and it's like 15 seconds, go. You know, they have one player smoked off. He'd be a huge problem if he could see. So we've got to kill 4 players in the site, make sure we have enough alive, get someone on the bomb, watch A main, kill the last guy, and do that in 15 seconds. And that's kind of very, very intense. But because they're so good at it, you see them still have pretty good results overall. On that round, however, Cloud9 won it, and it was very important that they did, not only getting a plant, closing it out with multiple players still alive.
Cloud9 continue to look for early damage here as they play it slow, once again lining up into that usual T-side default that we see so often on Cash. They've already managed to hit Shazam a little bit there, knocking off about half of his HP, but besides that, nothing else really gained besides the easy mid control, which should have been a given that they would be able to easily grab this time anyway. No presence for Misfits really towards highway or anything like that, so with the Z play already being brought down low, they're going to be able to push in. Tarek, bit of a mistake. Thankfully, it doesn't affect him too much. And as they move in, Almanac will be instantly dinked by the MAC-10. He does return the favor, but will end up going down before he can safely retreat further back, and that has set it up to be a 5v4. Misfits just really not having the gunpowder to go for a retake, so they're probably actually going to sit further back in the A site and look for the save.
So this is the side of the map that versus Liquid, they let a lead go in a big way, 15-6 again. So here on the CT side, they had problems. Now, a huge problem was Shazam just on an individual basis didn't have a great game. Don't want to harp on anybody too hard for just like individually not showing up, but he just wasn't hitting shots and so on. And that was, you know, maybe a factor. Now there were issues beyond that, though, like teamwork in retake situations, man advantages that they threw away, the 3v1 that Twist had at 15-11, and you know any number of those rounds, any one of those rounds, if they could just close them out, they would have won. And with those glaring errors having happened an hour ago, you wonder how much ground Misfits could have covered on Cash. Maybe playing that game is will help them avoid those mistakes in this match. And maybe if they didn't play that game, they'd be in a whole worse of a situation. So potentially a blessing in disguise. But we don't know. We don't know that for sure. And it's also true that Cloud9 were watching that. So maybe they'll try to exploit some of their weaknesses on the CT side. I don't know. That's what I would try to do.
Well, we'll find out if they're going to be able to successfully do that or not. But after this round, since Misfits do save a majority of their players, they end up on it's pretty much the similar buy to the second round force buy that you would normally see because that's where all the guns are coming from. So they've held back again in a gamble stack towards another site. B has been left wide open, and that's a bit unfortunate for the Misfits as Cloud9 are about to waltz right in. Skadoodle already has checkers control, along with, actually, excuse me, that's Stewie that has checkers control. And Stewie's sitting, or Skadoodle's sitting back inside of Sunroom, waiting for them to push in and take control. In a moment, they'll probably see that the site is wide open for the taking and just send the bomb that way to plant it and quickly secure a 10th round for themselves.
Kind of an intense moment for both teams. You don't see anybody, you don't actually get more relieved, you get more scared. Seriously. Well, where are they then, you know? And as the anti-eco errs, you just want to get a 5v4 to put yourself in the comfort zone. But now that they've started to scout, they see that B's kind of open, or at least they'll find that out soon. As Stewie turns this corner, call for his teammates to rotate in. It's now going to be up to Misfits on the retake, or well, on the retake to decide how they're going to play it.
Almanac unfortunately does not spot Automatic in time, so he gets his first kill. He's got to be careful dueling up here, though. Controls it for a little bit, but Shazam eventually knocks him out. It's going to be Tarek that moves in to claim revenge, and there's the bomb going down, so only a few players remaining for the CT side. Good pre-fire from Stewie to be able to find Shazam, and now just Sick outside of Squeaky, who's probably going to end up in a fight against Tarek here in a second. Tarek should be prepared to take the fight, and he is. So with Cloud9 winning out that round, they go into double digits with a 2-round lead over the Misfits.
Yeah, happy to do it. And as we can see, Misfits prudent enough to set themselves up for the full out buy. All players having utility, and with the 2-round differential, it's not the end of the world for the Misfits. So they don't actually prioritize a kit. Everybody wanted to have a smoke, and that meant that that was going to take out of their kit money. So they've got to deny a plant, or it's going to get a little bit more sticky for them. Stewie's stuck with the MAC-10, and there isn't actually anyone here to stop him. They're playing one on site. He's used his smoke. The fast rotate is vent, though.
In they'll roll, and Stewie starts it off with a MAC-10 still in hand. Shazam as well with a fatal miss. That's going to lead to his death and pretty much the entire B site going under the control of C9. They quickly attempted to rotate players into checkers, but both of them have also died. So it's a very, very clean round from C9, and we already see the save call coming out from both Devaduvek and Sick. Followed back into the Squeaky hallway, and that will let Cloud9 continue to roll forward up to 11 rounds.
Clean rounds. They did it with a MAC-10. I mean, that's the indignity blue. The opera,
the madness.
The player who saved the most, who spent the most in the round, who they left solo on the side, who had the most potential impact, gets killed, taken down by a MAC-10 for free instantly. Doesn't delay, not enough time for retakes or rotates, excuse me, or anything like that. And I mean, it was a hard shot to hit. Shazam and Stewie had the exact same idea, jump up on this box to get a kill. And I think that's actually one of the benefits of having the MAC-10, though. You're more carefree. So, you know, he wasted no time getting up there, and he also got up there faster.
A lot more mobile as we see the trades roll out, and eventually both the members of Misfits that tried to save go down. So no guns are going to be carried over into the 5th round on the half, and that does mean relatively full eco for Misfits. Probably just upgraded pistols, maybe 1 or 2 players able to afford armor, but besides that, Cloud9 should have the penultimate advantage here.
They definitely do. Another economy building rounds where some players are upgrading their pistols, but don't have armor to work with. Besides Sick and all of Cloud9 have a bunch of reasons to keep their players alive. Got ideal buys. Set up in a default. There's no pushes initially. Stack towards B. And it's always good, though, in a stack to not stack with 5 people. I mean, there can be good reasons to, because you maybe need 5 people to stop 5 rifles or however many rifles come to your site. But having a player on the other side of the map, like we had Stewie and B that round, right? Because he stayed alive and he caused teammates to rotate, that was the only reason they won. He didn't even actually have to get that first kill to make the round necessarily possible. So the information is very important.
We're about stopping the forward momentum of the T's more than anything else, trapping them with only partial control.
Entrapment. That's how you win. Counter-Strike.
That's one way to get it done. We do see Cloud9. Again, are going to move out, and eventually it looks like Sick did rotate back over to B and group up with the rest of his team, which did leave this A site wide open for the taking. Just quickly clearing it out with a couple preset nades and mollies, and they'll be able to plant the bomb and secure it for themselves. Again, Misfits, not really a whole lot they can do about that. Just going to be setting up for a couple exit kills at best and let Cloud9 go up to 12.
And there it is. The rotate can't come in. I mean, A's a much more wide open site. Like, that's another reason why teams go A so often on the ecos. And it's not that Misfits picked the wrong site when they went B versus Stewie. It's because you have to change it up. Otherwise, everyone's going to stack the same site every round. But one of the benefits of going A is that it's so wide open that, like, there's no way that you could have one person there that uses a smoke that blocks him out of the entire site. Let's say Sean was at quad and he wanted to he does that normal quad vent smoke. Then they can just wrap around it or just get stationed up in front of it, take tons of map control, use their time to get information. They're not completely stopped from getting information. So there's only so much you can do, and that's why A is a little bit more favorable for anti-ecoers. Full buy again. Almanac picking up the secondary op. Had an absolute haymaker of a game versus Liquid. Had 35 frags in regulation.
That was indeed impressive, but now we do see the full buy coming back out for Misfits here, including a double op setup this time. Almanac picks up the secondary op. That's going to be a great nade, though, right over top of Devo's head. Interesting enough, only knocks off about 25 damage. So
yeah, I felt like that couldn't have been closer. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that probably should have been almost double the damage that it did, but apparently not. CSGO nades, always fun. As Cloud9 still sit back, prepping up. No map control taking it all from them just yet, but still obviously really early days in the round. And still waiting out some of the initial CT smokes too.
Heavy mid setup, and it looks like Cloud9 want a piece of this action. Will they regret it? We'll soon find out.
We're going to have to see, as members of Misfits are in relatively open positions, but their utility usage has been great so far, along with instantly denying the boost player. That is going to change Cloud9's mind about executing into mid very, very quickly. Although, hold on now. Let's see if Skadoodle is going to get boosted over the top. Misfits will start to move their guys around a little bit because I think they might see this as a bit of an all clear, but with that flashbang, they'll go back to position. Skadoodle will decide not to peek it completely, though, only checking for Z presence and will not find anything. So can now group up with the rest of his teammates and get ready to push into A main here, which has been left open. They're just holding on the outskirts here, playing into more of a retake angle on the CT side here, but that's going to slowly change. We can see them creeping back up to the site and establish better positioning to actually attempt to hold and outright deny control from C9. Execute finally moves in, though, less than 30 seconds to make it happen, and there is a slight team flash on the way in. Devo will hold, but for only one kill. It's Ominek that picked up the second one. With those 2 kills, though, Misfits maintain an advantage and bring this into a 3v2 on the post plant. Ominek also still holding that very tight corner, but he's going to have to change up from that position now that he's been smoked and flashed out. Still holding it, though, and blind firing with the op, but just no connections.
Health might actually not be a factor here, as there are 2 ops on the retake, so depending on how Sean Gers goes down or gets his kills, Rush could have full impact.
Ominek, though, is going to instantly take down Skadoodle as soon as he sees him, and Shazam swipes in to find Rush there. So they will still pretty quickly retake that and be a little bit closer to the defuse, but thankfully they've got a kit to shorten the duration and make sure that it goes off without a hitch. Misfits finally pick up another round, their first of this half, and they'll go up to 8, or not, excuse me, off that.
Overall, great setup. I like that they can play heavy mid, and they got the first kill. They called out Cloud9, who were going for the initial boost, and even did a ton of damage to Tarek, which factored in later in the round as he got grenaded. And then when they moved over towards A, Misfits staying out of the site was probably a pretty good idea. They had man advantage, they had some utility left, and as they moved in, we could see that it worked out just fine, because even though they had the double op to begin with, Shazam immediately dropped it for a rifle, because he knows, you want to have a more mobile gun that you can spray when you have to encroach on a site. And now the boost, when do we start calling this Ethan, though? Infamous Shroud boost that Ethan had a very formidable play on.
We had a new king to take it over, so Ethan might be a good challenger for it. At least we keep it in the same region anyway, that way.
Yeah, he's got to make Reddit at least, a frequency of like 7 times
per play
a day, yeah. If you aren't getting 30 posts to Reddit per play, you do not qualify to be a new king of Reddit.
Have to get back in line and reapply on the next one. But we do see Ominek getting smoked out, which is going to make his position a bit trickier to play off of. Still hits the initial shot, though, and now sends the pop flash flying to the skies, but it won't even be needed. Sean, out of the vents, takes out 2 additional players and leaves just Skadoodle and Stewie left alive. With Stewie having partially pushed up through the B-halls, but still not really going to have a lot to go off of and try and initiate into B, since it's still an outright 2v5, and they have done 0 damage to Misfits.
Another great mid hold versus the late mid take of Cloud9, and it's unsure why exactly they've been so adamant about taking it, but Misfits having a really good read on the situation.
Cloud9 able to move back in and actually finally take down Sean, but Shazam still waiting, even with the smoke in his way. Takes down Stewie. Only 1 remains, and he's going to rush the plant to try and give his team at least a little bit of extra cash. Gets that down without a hitch. However, got Shazam sneaking in through the smoke now. They're still going to have to figure out where exactly Skadoodle went, but they're going to be able to find that quickly. Doesn't mean they'll get the kill, though. Skadoodle holds for 1 and 2. Now looking for the 3rd, but not going to happen, as Sick will be the one to take him down and bring Misfits into the double digits.
Wow, literally, it got scary there for a moment, but they have 2 alive, which is important because they want the double op setup. They picked those 2 ops again, and as far as they're concerned, they won the round fairly cleanly. Now we're going to have a CLG score report from Trace. Trace, let us know what's happening.
All right, we've been jumping into the CLG Splice matchup. It's quite the close showing here. Rick able to grab a quick 1 versus 3 clutch to really put CLG in a much better position. Either way, they are in a tough one. We're going to go back into the regular game now.
All right, thank you very much, Stunna. So back to our match as the action continues on in what is continuing to be relatively close fashion. Started off in a dominant way for C9. They've now lost that pressure a little bit and have gone into a pause.
Yeah, the score line's getting a little bit closer potentially, as Trace was alluding to, 10-6, but a round win potentially there by Ricky as well might make that a longer game. And then Cloud9 were hoping. I wonder if they've got that game open on the second monitor, just Monka S. You know?
This is the one time of the season where you're seeing teams actively root against other teams. They're trying to help potentially other teams too.
Yeah, these guys got to have #1 Splice fan. They got to pick a player each.
Yeah, they have stickers on their guns today, just showing the support.
Who do you think Automatic's favorite Splice player is?
I don't know.
Can't tell.
Maybe Semphis?
Semphis? Yeah, that makes sense. Nylon Bros?
Yeah.
There we go.
Calling it back to the old days?
Rolling back the years.
About 2 years, but rolling back the years nonetheless.
That's true.
It was all the way back in 2015 is when they had that roster.
Yeah, millennia ago in esports years. Esports years are like dog years in that way. But 2 rounds of difference. Cloud9 obviously forward to close this out, but they just lost the last round, and the last 2 rounds, Misfits got away with some very smart mid control late into the round, and I think Cloud9's game plan was wait them out until Misfits clear out mid and then leave it, because teams don't like to hang out there too long, because if you have anyone pushed up close mid, then you've got to keep refreshing that smoke to keep them safe. You also got to have them have a buddy, which is 2 men, you know, that's a big commitment. And sometimes you attack late mid, it can just be barren because the team thought, oh, early on you didn't go, you're not ever going to take it. And because that wasn't the case, Misfits held strong. They caught players on boost, did damage to players on lower with nades. They sealed those up quite nicely. And I think it's going to be Cloud9 have to figure out, just from a tactical point of view, it's not even like an individual problem at the moment, how do they get in the shoes of Sean Gares right now? What's Sean Gares thinking about? And if I'm Sean, I know that I can hold on to mid control. I can play light A. My team's confident in the retake on A. I mean, there's no reason to ever even change that setup.
All right, guys, let's take an update on the score once more and see how things are shaping up. You can see all of our matches right there for you. And obviously, again, update coming out. I'll go over SK. That was a bit of a forfeit win there, not an actual 16-0. But the other matches shaped up pretty well so far. And like we said, the ones that we're really paying attention to are the Immortals Energy one, which ended in a 16-0 fashion for Energy. And currently, which is still going on, obviously, the Splice and CLG one, which is now very close at 10-9 there.
Splice is going to lose this game. They got their T side can be shaky. It's clearly getting exploited. I don't know. They like the map though. Maybe there is hope for them. But CLG's train's not that bad. So I think, you know, you would assume that they would win. And
remember that Cloud9 need to see an 0-2 on CLG in order for them to still have chances to go into the playoffs. So this map for Cloud9 could become meaningless even if they do win it, should CLG win that map. Yeah.
So again, the fact that they can play retake on A means they can feel comfortable playing the exact same setup, 4-5 mid, 4-5 B, which is hard to retake. Hold on to mid because kills come there, and they also allow your fast rotations. Just do the same thing over and over again. I would just run that until Cloud9 figure out what to do about it. So Cloud9 can go for a full A exec, doesn't mean they're going to win. Which means they're going to throw a bunch of their nades away, and whereas the counter grenades are much more effective. The execute grenades are usually not as effective. Execute smokes are super effective, but like an execute heat grenade is not as effective as a counter grenade, because a counter grenade goes right to the choke point. You know there's going to be like 3 people that it hits right away, and an execute grenade could land anywhere and maybe hit 1 CT if they're even playing that spot. So there's a lot of advantages for teams that are confident playing from the retake.
Yeah, and as we can see here, it does look like we are just sort of... Oh, never mind. I thought we had a player disconnected. It looks like they're just hiding behind the box there on the zoom in. But apparently it's just a small internet problem at the venue, which, as I said before, was something that we kind of expected to happen, given the fact that there's like 40 or 50 players trying to play online matches from the same venue right now. So,
man, they just need to plug Ethernets into each other.
Just get infinite speed off of that. Just have a massive loop.
That's how the internet works, right?
Yeah, it's just perpetual speed being
That's what I thought.
Sent around everyone. Never expires at any point. It's not limited at all. So as soon as this spikes
down...
down...
that the internet is like that big modem they found in South Park?
That would be cool if that was the case. We could just fix all the world's internet problems with a quick switch.
Yeah. Just gotta be nice to it.
Yeah, appease the router or the modem, whatever it was. So yeah, guys, as you can see from the ping spiking there a little bit on Cloud9, we are just waiting for that to get settled out. And as soon as it calms down a little bit, then we should be good to continue the match. It is a little bit weird that Misfits are not having that problem and Cloud9 is, but because Cloud9's in that venue too, right?
They are in the same venue, yes.
All right, guys. Well, this is taking a little bit longer than expected. So while Cloud9 look to sort out that issue at the venue, we're going to go to a short little break. Do be sure to stick with us. When we come back, we're going to be continuing this match and get to see if Cloud9 will have a chance to sneak into the top 6 or if Misfits will shut them down and kill that dream, or it even has a chance to show up.